Dan The Beast Severn has been just amazing in his career. He mentioned Michigan and growing up there. And I'm curious because you grew up farming. And if there's anybody that gets their hands dirty and knows what hard work's about, it's farming and farmers. I'm curious how that helped you as a man.
Oh, big time. I mean, it's growing up on a farm. It is my parents' farm. Both my parents are gone, and they've been gone. But we my siblings and I, we still hold the family farm in our names, and it's a 120 acre farm. Crops, animals. About 80 acres of it is actually tillable, and the rest of it was actually woods, creek. So, if you ever read any books by Tom Sawyer or watched any of the Tom Sawyer films and that, I enjoyed that kind of a lifestyle growing up. So, fishing and hunting. I didn't even know you had to have a hunting license until I think it was around junior high that the flyers went around that, okay, there's a gun safety class coming up. I'm thinking, gun safety class? I go, didn't your father just take you out back and show you what was the business end of the gun and tell you, don't point it at anything you don't intend on killing? And I go, because that's how I was brought up on a farm. And, again, that work ethic of getting your chores done on a daily basis before you got taken care of, and you still had to make the walk of roughly a little over half a mile up a dead-end dirt road to catch the school bus. So that was, you got to look at how many people even endure that, and these are things that you have to do that. As my father used to say, son, he goes, how many times a day do you like to eat? And I go, I like to eat 3 times a day. Well, the animals get fed twice a day, once in the morning when you get up, and once in the evening when you get home. No matter how late that is when you get home. And if you went to, say, I played football, I wrestled, and I did part of a track and field team. So if you went to an away event and got home, and it's like 11, 12 o'clock at night, you still got to go out there and do those chores. Because the animals are hungry. The animals are thirsty. Peggy the milk cow is mooing because her milk bag is swollen and she has been milked on her time rations that she had to be in. So that was, again, the fact that we actually had a milk cow, and my mother would make butter out of the milk, but just to have fresh milk in the first place that only got strained through cheesecloth, just to make sure there's no type of impurities and stuff like that into it. So again, a very, if I was at a permanent residence, I would actually have a milk cow, and I would probably have some beef cattle and some other animals, chickens and stuff like that, on my farm, just so that it would all be grass fed and grain fed type of meals they would be provided.
Dan, it's so cool listening to you talking about farming, and I want to transition it this way. You're the first man to compete in UFC and WWF at the same time, and you held the NWA and UFC championships also at the same simultaneously. You're a world record holder for holding 13 championships. You've been honored. Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, Thez, Tragos, all of these things. You've been honored so much. And it's interesting because UFC and WWF, Brock Lesnar, that's what we know. We know Brock Lesnar, but you were doing this before Brock Lesnar. And I'm curious what it meant to you, looking back at it, to be able to see, hey, I was able, these successes, I did this. I did UFC, I was a champion. I was WWF, I was a champion. NWA. What does it mean to you now?
Well, it means a great deal. First off, someone like yourself, that you recognize that fact. And I think that's what the internet is helping out more and more, because I've had more and more people that, they may know who Brock Lesnar was before, but as they might be Googling, the Beast or whatever, something like that, they'll maybe I'll pop up instead. and then they learn about me a little bit more in that direction. Then they'll go down that rabbit hole of checking out some more videos or some more interviews that maybe I have done, and they're like going, dude, and then they'll contact me somewhere, because I usually put out an email address somewhere, or they'll contact me through Facebook, and that's how basically I'll say that more and more people are getting to know who I am now. But even as a senior citizen, I mean, because I tell people I'm 68 years of age, you wouldn't know that to see how I continue to work, how I continue to work out. I mean, I ironically, all during my professional wrestling career, all during my cage fighting career, the color of the hair, the color of the mustache, the color of my eyebrows was just for men number 45. Now, I say that comically because people understand there's physical warfare and there's psychological warfare. I had my father's very dashing but intimidating good looks about him, and I knew how to wield that, but I simply knew if I could keep my hair dark and dastardly along with those looks, there were sometimes I won matches before the match ever took place, just on those two elements alone.
You had already won the match just by your presence, how you looked, the psychology you brought, and that gave you an advantage over other combatants. It's just amazing. It's amazing, your career. And I hope, Dan, is there ever been an opportunity, or maybe there is one out there, I don't know, the Dan Severn movie, Dan The Beast Severn movie? Has anyone approached you? Is there a movie out there about your life? It's amazing life.
Well, I've had a few other people contact me about doing a movie, and I simply told them, I go, it's too much. I've done too many things there, Jim, that it could never be done in a single film to give it any kind of true meaning of what it done. But if you were to consider doing a series, and literally, I have a gentleman, as we speak, that is putting together a movie series, and each time that he's able to, say, lock in maybe about 45 minutes to an hour of my time, he just has an array of questions, but we're literally almost taking this by year by year by year.
Wow.
And I do have very meticulous journals that I've kept over time as well. And it will, if and when this eventually comes out, I think people will be blown away by how much one person achieved, but more than that would be for over how many different decades. Because I've actually been accused of being, there's no way it could still be Dan Severn. This must be the son of Dan Severn here right now, because you've been around too long. But it's like, and that's that kind of go. And one of my more cherished moments was to actually wrestle at I think it was a state meet. Could have been maybe it's a national meet. I don't remember now. Alongside my son, where I'm coaching him on one mat, and then he's coaching me over on the other mat, because I'm always at the seniors and the masters and doing my thing. And we were the first and only father and son champions ever. So that was great.
That is a cool moment. Because you see other athletes in other sports that have had the Griffeys, Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr., that was popping to my head, being able to play professional baseball together. That's a very amazing and spectacular moment. And for you, I know you mentioned it, but when that was all coming together, what were your thoughts? Were you more concerned with helping him win? I'm sure that maybe that was it. I'll let you answer that. But were you more concerned of helping him win than seeing yourself get over and win?
No. When I'm there and I'm at his mat, it's all about coaching him. And again, I was with him. He was. I knew that wrestling was an outlet for him. He was good at it, but he did not believe in himself at the time. And so one of the things I had to do is, because he thought he knew it all. So I had to sit back and I had to shut my mouth and I had to watch him lose. And I let him sulk for, a few days, and then I said, son, sit down here, let's talk. I go, obviously you're not real happy with what transpired. I go, what would you like to have happened? And he's telling me, and I go, this can all come to pass. I go, are you willing to listen to me? I go, I'll get you there. You got to do it all, because it's going to all be based on you. But I go, I'll make sure that you put in all the correct work. I'll line up the workout partners. I'll line up the workouts. But he paid an extra price, because he had to get up an hour before he normally would get up for school. Had to come out to the training facility with Dad, while Dad put him through his workout between what he's doing drilling wise, while I'm drilling on him, and he's doing all this, and then he had to go and get showered and eat his breakfast, and then get off to school. And I literally even had to relocate him to a different high school, because the high school wrestling coach in Coldwater, I'm going to be so bold to even name it out, the high school wrestling coach did not really want my help. Oh. Even though selfishly I'm there for one reason, really for my son, but I am an unselfish man. I will work with anybody else that asks my attention. So it didn't work out there, so I started to inquire to some of the other high school wrestling programs, and he ended up going to a nearby school. And I had a conversation with the coach saying, and I told him, I go, I'm here for selfish reasons. You'll find out I'm an unselfish man. I will work with all the other students that have questions, but once they say they got it, I'm simply going to smile at them, and I'm going to walk away. I go, but I said, if they start to follow the lead of what I'm doing with my son, your entire team will rise up. And that is really what happened, because they would see that when the normal high school wrestling practice got done, then I would work out my son for an extra 20 to 30 minutes. I had clearance that I would be bringing in men, former wrestlers that are graduated. They're men with jobs, but I had to bring in 3 or 4 of them, because they're men that don't wrestle and work out on a regular basis, so their cardiovascular is not on the well. So I'd have to bring in 3 or 4 of them to simply say, and I would tell them, I go, okay, my son is a sucker for a headlock. Hit him with the headlock, and I go and then show him how to defend the headlock, because then when the practice would be over, my son David, he'd be saying, "Hey, Dad," I go, so show me this and show me how to defend it. It was like, to me, it's like going, I don't care how you get the message, even if it comes from the burning bush itself. Get the message and let's move on. And that's how it worked out. And I told him that I had different men that were at all of his dual meet practices, and that I go, your dad has a very busy schedule. I'll be at your practices Monday through Thursday, but by Friday, Saturday, Sundays, I'll be gone. I will clear my schedule. On the weekend of state championships, I will be there, and I will be in your corner. And he also had a poem that he had to read every morning and every evening before going to bed, and every morning when he first awoke. And when I'm at the state meet with him, he won all of his matches, and now he's in preparation for a championship match. And I can see he's nervous. And I'm like, David, why are you nervous? He's like, well, Dad, he goes, this kid's really good. I said, well, what's his record? He's like, he was like, I don't know, let's say 46-4 or something like that. And I go, and yours is what? And he goes, 18-0. And he goes, and his record is what? And he goes, 46-4. And your record is what? And I repeated myself. He goes, Dad, he goes, what are you doing? He says, it's the same answer over and over again. I go, it's the same answer. I go, but what your realization is, your opponent has been beat 4 times. 4 times that someone psychologically broke him. Well, first they had to physically break him, and then psychologically break him all at the same time. I said, you are undefeated. You're the scariest cat that's out here. That and your last name happens to be Severn. That's worth 2 points. Spend those points wisely, my son. And then, we're being called to the mat. So as we're walking towards the mat, I'm walking just behind him, and I start to recite that poem, The Match Promise. And by the time we got that mat, I finished it on up. His hair was standing on the back of his neck. Jim, If I would have pulled out some raw meat, slapped him across the face twice, and simply would have pointed to his opponent and go, "Sick him!" I go, and he was so amped up at that point. I mean, he easily won his match. So yeah.
That is awesome. That is just so awesome. I'm curious. I'm curious, Dan. What high school was that, and how did the team do? Your son did very well. Did the team do well too?
Oh, it was the best. It was Bronson High School. It's just a little class. Gosh, I'm thinking, is it a Class C? Is it a Class D school? So they didn't have many people there, but their wrestling program just, I mean, it exploded, and I mean, it was going to sign braggadociously, but because of my influence.
Yeah.
They saw, even the wrestlers, when they start seeing that my son is staying after, and he's working out, he's having success, then there would be like other wrestlers like, "Coach, do you care if we can we do the same stuff that your son's doing?" I go, "The more the merrier." I said, because I always come back, misery enjoys company. So they didn't understand so many different things, but it's kind of like going, there's like a lot of wrestlers, especially on a collegiate type level, all these universities, they have these saunas. And I remember one of the toughest parts is after going through a grueling workout, then you still got to go sit in a sauna for another 20, 30 minutes to try to squeeze out a little bit more of that water weight there yet. And it was, I used to, and I know the sauna was tough, and it was like one of those mental type things. I used to bring in Arizona State's team with me, and I would bring in a deck of cards. And they're like, "Coach," I said, they're like, "What's the deck of cards for?" And I shuffle on up. I go, "You shall see it." I shuffle on up. I set my down. I go, pull top card. And if it's whatever it says on there, all face cards are 10 push-ups, and ace is 11 push-ups. But then everything else is, if it's a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you just do whatever those number are push-ups. There's only enough room for the guy to do a push-up, and you have to go through the entire deck.
Oh.
And so having that many bodies in there, the heat's rising, and the fact that someone's working out, that's rising there too. But it's one of those things that there's just a big time psychological edge. I mean, there's all kinds of stories that go to that are either sauna related, mentally related, but it always boils down to trying to get people to dig down deeper and to put forth more effort than what they're mentally and or physically capable of doing right then and there.
Those are awesome lessons in itself, and also some just truly just inspirational, fun, also learned, just some great stories too. We're gonna wrap it up with Florida and South Florida, because my gosh, your career, like you said, it has to be a series, not a movie. It has to be something like a Netflix series or something. Now, you went to Arizona State University, and you were a two-time All-American Arizona State University. You actually, is this right, Dan, you played basketball initially in junior high school?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. You're playing basketball, but now tell me if I read because you know how AI, some of it's true, some things aren't true. This I came across, I thought this is interesting. So you tell me if this is good information or it's horrible information, but that at your junior high school, there was wrestlers, they got sick, they all got ill, and they needed to fill out the squad for it, and the coach came over and said, "I need you to wrestle. You got to help us on our wrestling team." Is this true or not, Dan?
It's true, but it was the athletes, the team members that actually asked me to fill in a weight class, otherwise they'd have to forfeit.
If that didn't happen, I mean, that's the start of it there, is it? I mean, if they're not sick, if they're not ill, maybe not have Dan The Beast Severn, or no, we still would have him.
Yeah, well, again, it was a big time flu epidemic that hit the school, and just all kinds of students were out, but there happened to be a dual meet coming up that night. And a couple of my buddies that run the wrestling team, like, Dan, they're like, "Can you come out and fill out one of the heavier weight classes?" Because I mean, being a big farm kid, I was strong for Vale and and all that, but I had never wrestled before. Well, I wrestled twice. I lost both matches, so did I really help them? No. So I tell people, I sucked in the beginning, but I kept going back and learning some more and learning some more. And then it's kind of going, when you finally win, it's like, man, it's great. It's a great feeling. It's a great sensation. It's kind of going, I like the sensation. Let's put in some more work. See if we get more of the same feeling.
That is just great. And so instead of having Air Severn, we get the Beast Severn.
Well, now, I was a big Michael Jordan fan, though, too. I mean, I just to watch him, how he defied gravity, but what a phenomenal athlete he was. So, again, I just look at, these are, again, I look at anyone that aspires to be great at something as role models. How did they break out of the norm to become the extra norm?
Well, coming to Florida, and I will tell this story. Florida Championship Wrestling was a very well-run show by Bill Brown with his backer Bernie Siegel. And Bill's out in Vegas area, I believe, now. He's been there for a while. And Bill invited me out to his show, and I got to see you. And it was just an amazing experience, just outstanding. And before the matches even start, the crowds, they're settling into their seats, getting their popcorn, getting ready for a great show, and get to see you compete, which is another just an incredible experience. But there you are, in the ring, the crowd is there, and you're going through a whole workout routine. And it's like you're just in your own mindset, it's in your own routine, doing your thing, and everybody stops and everybody's watching and just seeing you go through that. What was the thought process? No one does that. What was the thought process of you doing that and just preparing yourself?
Well, again, I was in my own little world, and I'm simply even when I did the very first time of going into the ring, I go, okay, the ring is small. It's much smaller than an amateur wrestling mat. So on an amateur wrestling mat, I would have been doing the same thing. I'd be jogging in circles. I'd be doing carry step-ins. I'd be doing side sweep stepping. I'd be doing these just all kinds of stuff just to loosen up the body. Then once I kind of got I'm warmed all on up, then I would drop down on the mat, and I would be doing some more stretches right there. I'm doing stuff for my neck, my back, my knees, my shoulders, but then I would be doing like handstands and stuff like that. And the people they're thinking that the folks there, they're thinking, oh gosh, all these wrestlers must be doing the same type of thing right there. So it made it look a whole lot more realer to everybody else that someone like myself is doing this. And I at one particular event, I started off in the pre-mode like that, and I already knew what the scope of the match was going to be. And as the fans started coming on in, I had a table over there, and I kept warming up throughout the entire show until my match, and people were shocked because I went right from a warm-up, and literally, I'm dripping with sweat. And I went right from the sidelines right over to where my table was, with some belts on display and stuff like that, and I went right into the ring. And people, I go, oh my God, how can this guy do this?
That is amazing. And you did. You would just go for and just get in there and compete at such a high level. It's so great. And Dan, before I let you go, other athletes, they are athletes. You're an athlete. Other athletes, Kurt Angle, Ken Shamrock, come to mind. I mentioned Brock Lesnar, yourself. Just being able to have that amateur wrestling background and or MMA opportunities and being able to transition into pro wrestling and do it that way. What does that say about you all? Because you're going from amateur wrestling, MMA is so different from professional wrestling. So you've sort of got to turn it 180 in a sense. So not to go, we all know, but not to go into all of that. But just what are your thoughts of you and others like that? And have you had interactions with Kurt and Ken or even Brock?
I mean, yes to all of the interactions, except for Brock. I mean, other than if you just meet him and shake his hand, that was really about it. But I've had interaction with Kurt Angle during my amateur wrestling career. And again, Kurt, what a great example for what an amateur wrestler would do. I've had interaction with Ken Shamrock. Again, that they did really more, I'll say, tense at earlier point in time. But again, we get along just fine. Cause it's like I don't think Ken even knew how to take me. It's like, You've opened up the door to Dan Severn. You had a preconceived conception of what Dan Severn's like, but it's like until you finally get a chance to speak to me, do you really start to understand a little bit more? And I've had more than one on more than one occasion, people say you're not at all of how I thought you would be, and I go, well, I go, hopefully it's been a good surprise instead of a bad surprise. Because, a lot of people, if you're in the cage fighting industry or in the professional wrestling, it's, high testosterone, a lot of machismo that gets involved in it there. But it's kind of going, I still go right back to that golden rule of life, try to treat other people the same way I want to be treated, no better, no worse. But it's like some of the wrestlers are some of the worst people because of that exoneration that they get. So, again, I just try to, it's always, well, again, it's humbling for me because after each of my trips, I come back home. Mm. And so, and who am I? I'm Dan, I'm Dad, I'm whatever, at that point. So I try to leave the character out on the road, and when I come home, you really don't know about that.
And the Beast, tell us what things you are doing on the road, because you're doing a lot on the road. And do we have any Florida plans yet for you coming down here? I don't know if you've been down here in a while.
Oh, no, I've got, there's some things that are coming up again for Florida. I mean, I always just tell people, just go to my Facebook page for Dan Severn, and you'll see that there's things that are posted on a daily basis. A lot of it is motivational. I very rarely go off onto a rant, but I will every now and then just to point out the stupidity of some of these things. I go, and it's like, it's almost in like that professional wrestling type of mode that I'll kind of go into, because I'll grind in pretty good right there. I think that this is acceptable. And again, I'll just use one example. I go, to allow men or boys in girls sports. Mm. I mean, to me, I go, that'll be the rant that I go, do you not understand what a male is or what a female is? You either look down and you either got one or you don't have one. It's a pretty easy mathematical equation that you can go through. Now, do I care if people want to change their sex up? Hey, it's the United States. You can do almost whatever you want. I don't care. I don't know what it's going to do for you, but it's like, yeah, good luck to you.
That's something. Clay Travis was on Fox last night, and he had mentioned that he would like to own a WNBA team. Own a WNBA team and have all transgender players on the team, and then see what the other WNBA players, coaches, teams, fans, people think about all of that. And it's just, it is. But I'll tell you what, they can check everything out. Go to your Facebook. That's amazing. Greco-Roman, freestyle, pro wrestling, cage fighting, MMA. Dan the Beast Severn is the one, the only, and he is one of the first, if not the first, to succeed at all those levels, at the highest level. Arizona State University, ho, go Sun Devils. Thank you, Dan.
The only thing you missed out on that there would have been senior citizen Dan, and he's doing what he can. There's a lot.
I like it. That I should have used that. Senior citizen Dan doing all he can.
And as I ride it off into the sunset there, yeah.